How's it guys, Munash here, and today we have an Abyss Medusa solo with Sorcerer Supreme. So this is a fight that I've tried before on the live servers and it was actually quite difficult to solo because you kind of need to choose between your damage or your utility. And it doesn't actually work very well because either you nullify with the special 1, since that's the only way she can nullify. She gets that nullification aura, which helps to deal with those fury buffs to prevent her from auto blocking. Or you just throw special 2s because those will pause the effects from your blessings, so you get to stack more armor breaks and do more damage. So I would alt between the special 1 and special 2 because at least then I can actually have the full uptime on the nullification while still doing a somewhat decent amount of damage. But the fight becomes much more difficult when she becomes unblockable and you aren't able to parry anymore. So to put it simply, the nullification aura was just not lasting long enough for this to be an ideal matchup. So I tried it again on the CC beta, but this time I brought Dr. Voodoo because he has a synergy, or Sorcerer has a synergy with him, that pauses the nullification aura for a few seconds when you activate a special attack. And the difference that makes is humongous. Like, I was actually able to cut this fight time down to, I think, half. I got this fight down in about 350 hits and 9 minutes. The fight wasn't difficult, I even got hit once or twice and managed to finish with 100% health. And it was quite a fun fight overall, because with high MD you get to throw a lot of special attacks and stack a bunch of those debuffs. And the regen was actually a little bit overpowered in this matchup. You can easily maintain multiple stacks throughout the fight. So you might be thinking that bringing Voodoo and Sorcerer into the Abyss is a little bit impractical or unrealistic, but it actually is. You could use this team to clear Path 1 in Abyss. The only thing is you would need to swap out Stealth Spidey for Aegon. I suppose you can swap out Nick Fury as well, but yeah, you just need to swap out one champ for Aegon and this team can actually work pretty well for Part 1. Because you still have Aegon, Human Torch and your Mystic, which is all you really need for Part 1. And Sorcerer with Voodoo is easily better than Doom or Symbiote Supreme. I think she can solo all the Cosmics on Part 1. I just need to double check on Venom the Duck because that fight is a little bit different to the others. But Voodoo also works pretty well for that fight, and Cull Obsidian. But I'm not only gonna use Sorcerer against the Cosmics, I'll also try her on Abyss Ghost just to see how she does when there's not that many buffs. There's also Mordo I can try her on, otherwise I'll just use Stealth Spidey, he can also solo that. And Aegon, who's kind of like a Cosmic because he gains lots of buffs, but you won't have offensive ability accuracy when you're attacking without a special attack. But Sorcerer mostly relies on special attacks anyway, so that should be a very fun fight for her as well. But yeah, there are several fights she might be good for on Part 1. Oof, got a bit lucky there. She didn't punish me after blocking my special attack. I made a lot of silly mistakes in this fight, by the way. You might have already seen some. But I haven't actually spoken about what's happening in the fight, so let's do that right now. So before you start the fight, you actually want to use one of her pre-fight abilities. The Blessing of Icon, I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, the purple blessing. So you start the fight with the ability to power steal, so you can get to that special 1 pretty quickly. Then you just throw it for the nullification aura, because you're gonna gain a lot more power when you nullify with MD. And I'm running level 5 by the way, which was doing wonders for this matchup. Level 4 should also be pretty good, and even level 3 should be doable. So 10 hits in, you should have your special 1 ready, and it should apply a slow debuff if you still have the purple blessing. Then before you know it, you should have a special 3 ready just from nullifying those furies. Now before you throw the special 3, you want to make sure you have the purple blessing active once again, because you're gonna bank that rune, which will allow you to place a slow debuff whenever you throw any special attack, no matter which blessing is active at the time. And that just makes managing the fight much easier because slow bypasses Unstoppable of course, which is her abyssal ability, and after running out of warfare charges you're gonna have to have a slow debuff on her if you wanna hit her. So you throw your special 3 with the control blessing. By the way, I use different names interchangeably, so sometimes I'll call it the power blessing, sometimes it's the control blessing, other times it's econs, and sometimes it's just purple. But yeah, after the special 3 you're gonna build to another special 1, then throw it for the nullification aura, and then from that point on you just want to spam special 2s until the aura expires. And you want to throw the special 2s as soon as you can because they do pause the effects of each blessing along with the nullification aura thanks to the Voodoo synergy. So high MD will allow you to throw lots of special 2s very quickly, which will allow you to have a higher uptime on the nullification aura, which means more power gain with MD, which means more special 2s, and yeah, it's just a beautiful cycle. So the more frequently you can throw special 2s, the more debuffs you can apply. And one of those debuffs is an armor break. And when you stack a lot of them, you can start hitting pretty hard. Like, check the special 2, both hits were crits and it totals to about 67,000 damage. And that's with 6 armor breaks, which is kind of average, maybe slightly above average for this fight. And the power blessing. If I had the fury blessing on, it could have done a lot more damage. Because I saw earlier the last hit of the special 2 did 58,464 damage with 5 armor breaks when I had the fury blessing. It might not be a crazy amount of damage, but it's still pretty solid. And the thing is, you're throwing these special attacks so frequently, so her damage per second is actually quite high. So there's no need to bank a bunch of runes and throw some big special 3s, cause that just makes the fight slower. Special 2 is the way. Then you just want to throw special 1 whenever the nullification aura is about to expire, which will allow you to keep up the momentum and maintain those debuffs. So now we have run out of charges, which means that she is permanently unblockable and unstoppable, although we have the slow debuff, so don't have to worry about that. But this part of the fight is more difficult just because you can no longer block. Something that Sorcerer is really good at, so now we have to play a bit more carefully. So no more silly mistakes because she is hitting pretty hard and can quite possibly knock me out in one combo. So just gotta land some intercepts, and you can use the power gain to your advantage to get some easy openings with those special attacks. And even if you struggle with the unblockable part, it's still a 1 revive fight with Sorcerer. By the way, my Sorcerer is Sig 80 now, but I took her to rank 5 on Awakened because she really doesn't need the Sig. It just gives a potency increase on her blessings, 5 to 33% based on Sig level, and a 10 to 50% increase on her ability accuracy, which is quite nice for certain matchups like when you're fighting Domino, but otherwise not necessary. So that's pretty much it for this fight. Sorcerer is a brilliant counter for any of these high buff matchups in Abyss, as long as you can bring the Dr. Voodoo synergy. So I'm just gonna let the rest of the fight play, but that's gonna be it from me. Hope you guys found this interesting, but as always, thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.